This is great news, right? Of course it is. I know we haven't had a lot of good news recently, but good news on hospitalizations, on the death rate, on this drug working, and the media are so upset, specifically on the drug. You know, President Trump does these daily press conferences. He is his own press secretary. They're the best stuff on TV. They are even slightly better than Tiger King, and Tiger King is a great show. We got a few press conferences to catch up on over the weekend. The biggest takeaway I had from all of them is how much the press does not want this pandemic to get better. They seem furious when the drugs work. They seem furious when the numbers are going in the right direction. In fact, one reporter is asking President Trump if he thinks it's really responsible to go out there on television every day and tell people that there's actually hope in the form of this new drug.
Mr. President, as President of the United States, your words carry enormous weight in this country and around the world. And while you acknowledge you're not a physician, you do promote these medicines extensively here. How do you not go so far as to be giving medical advice? And you said yesterday you might take some of these medicines even though you don't have symptoms. Are you still planning to do that? And how do you calibrate being enthusiastic and not playing doctor?
Because I want people to live. And I'm seeing people dying. And I've seen people that are going to die without it. And you know the expression, when that's happening, they should do it. What really do we have to lose? We also have, this medicine's been tested for many years for malaria and for lupus, so it's been out there. So it's a very strong, powerful medicine, but it doesn't kill people.
He's almost flabbergasted, I think. You look at his confusion. You say, Mr. President, your words carry so much weight. Why on earth would you tout this drug that's shown great efficacy at treating coronavirus? Because I want people to live. You monsters, do you not want people to live? Think about how perverse that is. The mainstream media know of this drug, which has been shown to be effective at treating the global pandemic that there is currently no cure for and no vaccine for. And the press are angry that Trump would tell people about the drug. Look also at how the press wants to have it both ways with Trump. They get angry with Trump that he's not acting fast enough, right? They say the administration's bungled response to coronavirus. They're not working fast enough. They didn't have an answer in place. And then the press gets angry that Trump is acting too fast. They say, we had no response to this virus. You have no cure for this virus. Okay, well, we've got a cure now. You can't have a cure. That's terrible. You haven't gone through 18 months of clinical testing. It seems pretty clear they just don't want the problem to go away. I thought Trump gave a very good answer. The reporters were not pleased with that answer. Actually, the reporters came back and asked the same question again, phrased even more offensively. The next reporter then asked the question as to why those pesky elected politicians keep leading our politics and making these decisions, instead of just turning over all of their power to the scientists, to science itself.
The doctors who are treating coronavirus patients, they have the medical expertise to determine whether or not they should prescribe hydroxychloroquine.
And many of them
And
do.
there are already clinical trials in place looking at hydroxychloroquine.
Sure.
So
They should be finished in about a year.
Why not just let the science speak for itself? Why are you promoting this drug?
I'm not. I'm just saying, very simply, I'm not at all. I'm not. Look, you know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to save lives.
You come out here every day, right, sir, talking about the benefits of hydroxychloroquine.
I want them to try it, and it may work and it may not work. But if it doesn't work, it's nothing lost by doing it, nothing. Because we know long-term what I want to save lives. And I don't want it to be in a lab for the next year and a half as people are dying all over the place.
It's already out there. Doctors are already able to prescribe it off-label.
That's right. I don't want to wait a year and a half to find out. And only CNN would ask that question. Fake news. Go ahead.
So true. Well, actually, let me caveat that a little bit. It's true that CNN is such fake news that they would ask that question. But a lot of reporters in this room are asking this kind of ridiculous question. What that reporter's question boils down to is, Mr. President, why are you being the president? Mr. President, why are you showing political leadership and giving Americans hope and trying to point them in the right direction? Why aren't, look, and then Trump answers, he says, because I want to save lives. He says, look, the drug is out there, okay? The reporter says it like grudgingly. Oh, the drug is out there. Fine. Okay, there's a cure for coronavirus. Or if there's not a cure, at least there's a good treatment for it. But you don't need to promote it. You don't need to tell people there's a cure. We were hoping this pandemic would go on for 6 months. We were hoping if we were lucky, this thing would go on for 18 months, and then you would lose the election, and then Joe Biden would become president. He probably wouldn't even be aware of it if he got elected, but then we could do whatever we want. And now you're going around our backs, you pesky Donald Trump, and you're giving people hope and showing them that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. How dare you, Mr. President? Why not let science speak for itself? Guess what? Science doesn't act on its own. That's the other side of this. It's not like you put a bunch of microscopes in a lab and you have a couple white coats hung on the wall and then science happens. Okay, science is led by people who follow the scientific method. And then once the scientists do the sciencey things, then you have drugs, which now we have, and then it is up to our leaders to promote those drugs. It is up to our leaders to tell us that those drugs are available, to communicate that to us, to lead in the crisis. And the press hates it that Trump is leading right now. And they apparently hate it that things are going better than before.